Okay, step 3. So once you have figured out how to listen, once you like at least are going to practice with it, right? Once you have recognized that it's not your job to fix their problem, it's your job to validate and be a good listener. And we'll talk more about how to validate in a minute. The next step is recognizing how to actually validate. So validation is using very descriptive words of what you're seeing and observing in the other person, whether it's through their body language, their actions, or their words, or a combo of all of that, right? So you're basically looking for what you're seeing in them, or feeling or hearing in them, okay? So you're trying to be as descriptive as you can. You want to do it without judgment. So you want to avoid judgment phrases, and we'll talk more about that. I'm going to give examples. Examples are the best way to learn how to do this, I feel like. But the goals are to connect with them. Remember, this is to connect with them and help them feel safe. You're there for them. They can trust you with their feelings, with their struggles, and they can trust you because you're not going to judge them. You're not going to come back at them with judgment. That's so huge. That's what builds the safety, is when there's not that judgment there, when it's like, I'm here, I see you in what you're dealing with, and I want to support you the best I can. So you're using descriptive words. So I'm gonna now look at my notes so I can give you good examples here. So first, when we are validating, we use descriptive words of what we are seeing and or hearing. So here's your example. A kid storms into the house. They slam the front door. They've just gotten home from school. What you will be tempted to say is, don't slam the door, right? That invalidates whatever they were feeling, right? But a better way to approach that would be, wow, you seem really upset. I mean, really upset. And you can be dramatic too, because that's one of the steps tips is to match their energy. Especially with little kids who are so expressive, you can use, if you don't kind of match it, they actually feel like you're not as there for them. I don't know if that's making sense, but if, for example, let's do that scenario again. The kid comes in and they slam the door, they throw their backpack on the ground, and they're just fuming. You can see that they are really fuming. You could say, in your gentle, you seem really upset. But that might trigger them even further because you're not getting it. They're like, no, I'm really upset, right? So you can say, wow, you seem really upset. That opens the door for them to say, yes, I am very upset. And then they might actually talk to you about why they're so upset. And so what you're trying to do is actually get that out. You want them to express whatever it is. And so one of my favorite tips or rules for validation is all feelings are acceptable. This was revolutionary. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but this was, revolutionary for me. This was a game changer for me, was learning that all feelings are acceptable. I am Christian, and so some of my background is kind of this, there's this almost this sense that you're not allowed to ever feel angry, for example. Anger is not okay. I've learned that all feelings are acceptable, not all actions. Not all actions are acceptable. Some actions need to be limited, right? So, but when people are allowed to express and feel the full gamut of their feelings and what they're going through, that can diffuse them so that they don't act in a way that is unacceptable, so that they don't do something really destructive with let's say anger, for example, or extreme sadness. So all feelings are acceptable. Some actions need to be limited. So, and that's kind of a no-brainer on that one. But as far as some actions need to be limited, but understanding that all feelings are really acceptable, that God, okay, I'm going to go religious for just 2 seconds. God can handle all of our feelings. He doesn't like all of our actions. Okay. So some of the things we do. So learning to go there and allow ourselves to go there and be a safe person for others to go there with is huge in diffusing and getting someone out of that flipped lid state so that they can make better choices and be their highest and best self, the person who they actually want to be. And so we're really just helping them and supporting them in that. Okay, so another way that we can validate others is we can restate their words with their underlying need or desire that they're expressing. Let me give you an example of what I mean. So I'm going to say that one more time. We can restate their words with the underlying need or desire that they're expressing. Remember, we're listening and we're watching and we're looking for what are their feelings, what are their needs, right? So they come in a lot of times when people are in a flipped lid state, they're not in their high thinking brain. They're literally survival brain. So they're going to say things or do things that are very hurtful. They might say to you, you're like, I hate you. You are always late in picking me up. Like, let's say that they've been waiting for you to pick them up from the bus stop or the school or wherever, some activity they're at. And they say, I hate you. You're always late picking me up. Okay. So it would be very normal and reasonable when you're getting attacked like that to fire back at them, and you're never late, or you don't remember every time I've waited for you. Think about all the times that you've been waiting on them to get out the door, for the day or whatever, all the different things. But you could fire back at them. That's the kind of, remember earlier I said the language we don't want to use is blaming, guilting other people, judging them. I have all the words, shaming. I can't remember where that note page is. Yeah. Accusations. Anyways, defensiveness. That's the word I was looking for. Those, when we use that kind of a comeback, what does it do immediately to the other person? It does not build connection. It doesn't bring them back to a higher thinking, closed lid state. It just further flips the lid, right? It just keeps the fire going. So when we come back defensively or judgmentally, it doesn't diffuse it. It just makes it worse. So another way of saying that is like we're looking for what is it they're really saying. You can say something like, you didn't like waiting for me. That's the truth. They didn't like waiting for you. Maybe it embarrassed them. Maybe their friends were like all getting picked up and they're the one left behind. And so maybe it was embarrassing. Remember, part of listening is trying to understand their perspective. So going back into your own experiences with that, have you ever had to be waiting for someone and they maybe forgot about you, or they were late picking you up? What did you feel? Were you embarrassed? Were you annoyed? Were you frustrated? Did you feel like they didn't care about you because they weren't there on time or whatever? So by you saying, instead of like, you're never late, you say, you didn't like waiting for me. Or I can see that really hurt your feelings that I was late picking you up. And then listen to them. So you're back to listening. Listen to them. Yeah, it really hurt my feelings. They made me feel like you didn't care, or it was embarrassing for me. So now they're expressing, and you can just kind of basically respond to what you're hearing. That I can see that was really embarrassing for you. And you're just trying to hear them all the way out on their feelings. You're not trying to justify yourself, defend yourself, or anything. When they get back to here, then you might be able to actually let them know, I'm so sorry. That was so hurtful. I can see how much that really hurt you. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I got a flat tire on the way over to pick you up, and I'm so sorry. And, but that's not going to come at that point, because right now they're here and they need to be validated so they can then get to here. Okay, we're going to stop and pause.